Diet is everything. What we consume and put into our body really makes a big difference to our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, and especially if we have trauma. Because when you have trauma, we are soaking in stress hormones, we are tense, and everything is heightened and elevated and just faster, right? Amplified. So it's our life's mission all the time is to slow things down. And people will make comments that contradict itself and don't even make sense. So they will talk about how caffeine doesn't affect them at all because they don't feel it, but they will speak of insomnia and sleeping issues and anxiety. People don't take the time to understand or learn and educate themselves on what they're really putting into their body and what it has, what effects it has on them, short and long term. So caffeine is a stimulant. And the first thing you see when you Google what it does physically is that it stimulates the central nervous system. So, and how does that work? I'm going to read you something. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Adenosine. Caffeine acts as a stimulant on the nervous system, primarily affecting the central nervous system. It blocks the effects of the adenosine or adenosine, a neurotransmitter that promotes relaxation and drowsiness, leading to increased alertness, focus, and energy. Caffeine also increases the release of other neurotransmitters like dopamine and norepinephrine, further contributing to arousal and alertness. So even if you're not feeling that initial buzz or whatever at the time, that may just be due to, high tolerance or maybe it's your metabolism and it doesn't mean that it's not inside stimulating your actual nervous system and affecting you in the background in some way. So if you know that you are jumpy and fidgety and jittery, or you have anxiety, or you're struggling with sleep, why the fuck are you putting caffeine into your body? Just because you don't feel it at the time. You really need to understand that it's doing things regardless. And if you can get it out of your system, you're going to notice a difference. Like, obviously, you don't want to go cold turkey because you will have withdrawals and it'll hurt. But you really need to learn about what you're putting into your body. I this last week had a couple of iced coffees and I felt the difference because I haven't had coffee in several years. I reckon in the last 4 or 5 years, I've had maybe 3 or 4 coffees, and it's never been a whole coffee. It's been like sips of one. Um, and it'll be like a quarter strength latte where I drink like 3 or 4 sips. And it's actually to test myself where I've just been curious or I've had a craving, but I would never be able to just drink a whole cup because of how it actually affects me. But I noticed the difference just those few days that I had iced coffees. Um, Even after the crash, the following day, I was still affected. My anxiety, just my whole nervous system was jittery. It affected my sleep later on in the week, and it's like caffeine really affects you. Sugar, processed foods, they all affect us. Um, when you have trauma and you're trying to relax and be healthy, you need things that cleanse because we have issues with our stomachs and our bowels. We need things that are calm. Rather than having a coffee, have a fucking chamomile tea or something. Like, I know that I'm next level compared to the average person. I know that most people aren't going to go out and have a shelf with like 20, 30 herbs on them, but there's no reason why you can't have a relaxing herbal tea or a warm milk or whatever it is. These don't cure trauma. They don't put you to sleep. They don't take away your anxiety, but they sure as hell are going to be way better than anything like coffee or, cocoa and caffeine and caffeinated tea and soft drink and sugarnated stuff. So I think I just made a word. I don't know if sugarnated, no, sugarnated, sugary stuff. So if you're blocking all the happy chemicals and the relaxation chemicals, and you're increasing stimulation, increasing the heart rate, you're actually going to be just hurting your all your symptoms that you have, that you're trying to heal from with your trauma. So like literally you could put in all this work and then undo it all just because you're a coffee addict, or because you can't stop drinking Coke, or you're addicted to processed food and you can't be fucked cooking. Well, that laziness and that diet could be the very thing that's stopping you from having the motivation to doing things that you're not motivated to do. It could be what's making your insomnia worse than it already is. It could be making your anxiety go from like a 5 to an 8. You know what I mean? Like, stopping these things and cleaning up your diet and doing cleanses aren't the cure, but they are one contributing factor to your health. So if you have good things going in you, you can only imagine that it's going to result in good things happening for you. If you have bad things going in you, even if you don't feel it at the time and you think it's not doing anything, it is building up in your system and it is fucking you and it is holding you down like an anchor from taking care of yourself. So it might be that sugar that's making you too lazy to go for that run you need to release, or go out and set up that boxing bag area that you need because you're just too tired. But then you're not getting your release. And then you're having this build up of anger. Why? Oh, because you were too lazy to go and set this thing up that you needed to help yourself. And why are you too lazy? Because you're eating all this shit that's making it hard for you to get up. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one thing is the problem. No one thing is to blame. But what we put in our bodies and what we surround ourselves with, environment, the people around us, energy, we soak it all up. The things we consume, that determines the energy that we're running on. So if it's not good for us, we're not running on good energy. We really are what we eat. And the more we understand what we're putting in our body and how it affects us, the more we can take care of ourselves. And the more we take care of our physical health, the more we're going to see improvements in our mental and emotional health.